Hello, everybody. I am going to introduce our panel here tonight. It is myself, Duncan, aka One to Escape. We have got Barry, who is paramedic, and we have Wino Sammy. So I'm just
hold on, because to be fair, you've got two Duncans and two Barrys tonight. That's what I'm seeing, anyway.
Yes, your face is going into the shade of red as well.
How close is it? How close is it?
Are you still drinking?
Oh dear.
I don't know how to answer that. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining.
Sammy,
yeah, you might be right.
Sammy cannot control his drink. I think tomorrow someone is going to be waking up with a load of regrets.
Regrets, yes. Other hangovers I can cure. Regrets, no.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a load of regrets tomorrow. Yes, Sammy is quite right. I was meant to put the show notes on. I got slightly delayed as I was exercising, and I need to do.
I'm more saying for my benefit because I've got no idea. To be fair, I had no idea what we were going to talk about 3 hours before the show started. Let alone right now.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is going to be an interesting show, and
isn't it?
It is going to have some interesting talking points. So I'll just go over what we are going to be doing here today, because I actually I managed to get our quick show notes for today out in the tweet, which we're going to be talking about the Ubisoft news of this week. We're going to be talking about new hirings because there's two we can talk about here. We're going to be talking about that Stadia article because I think everybody's still talking about that Stadia article. So for the crack wheel to it, we're going to be talking about the new games which came to Stadia last week and the announcement. We will also be discussing about a game which I think many people have actually missed last week with the Rainbow Six and the For Honor news. And our wee chat topic for this week, which I love people to answer us here. So Sammy, here is your question. You have to think for later, okay? Are Stadia going to be mentioned or talked about a lot tomorrow at Google I/O during the main presentation? Can you remember that, Sammy?
Our Google I/O going to be talked about tomorrow? Yeah. Even after I thought I was going to be really proud and say it properly, I still got it wrong, didn't I? Our Google Stadia going to be talked about tomorrow at Google I/O.
Yes. Oh dear.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
I'm probably a wine drinker. Yeah.
I think it shows.
We could tell.
So here we go. We will kick this off responsibly.
Yes.
We will start off nice and positive. Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor, and some form of Uno. We're not sure if it's an update or if it is a new game. It is Uno 50th Anniversary Edition. Have all been listed as coming to Stadia this basically by the end of next month. I was going to say this month, but it's actually next month. So what do we think about this now? I'll just get the Sammy.
I think this is great news, actually. Rainbow Six Siege, we've talked about it being one of the games that, if it comes to Stadia, would be perhaps game-changing for the platform. Ubisoft, who have done particularly well supporting Stadia in the past, Stream Connect on Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I was watching Squids play, I think it was Division 2 on Stadia earlier. That has Stream Connect. It's one of the best ports on Stadia. If they can put Rainbow Six Siege with crossplay and Stream Connect on Stadia, then I think that's potentially one of the best things they can do for the platform, and one of the best opportunities to show it off to the wider world. There you go. I wasn't expecting that coherent, was you?
Yes, you knew that one was coming, so you've probably got it wrote down there somewhere to be absolutely
I'm really going to work that.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Barry.
Rainbow 6.
I don't know whether to just
Opening.
like keep this up permanently for Sammy's benefit. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I think Rainbow Six Siege has had a is it not? Is it not? It's had a bit of an on and off relationship with ratings. You know, and everybody's kind of been keeping that, you know, the eyes peeled for when is it going to drop? When is it going to drop? And obviously, we've now finally had that news that we will see it. Realistically, it's going to happen at, you know, some point between now and the end of June. So we've got kind of a timeline on it. We know when it's going to be arriving. It's brilliant. I think partly as what Sammy was saying, I think what will make or break Rainbow Six's success on the platform will be Stream Connect and crossplay in some fashion.
Yeah, yes, it's just fun. It's just fun.
Do you
Rainbow
think
Six
it'll come with crossplay with just PC, like we've seen with other titles, or will it be full crossplay with? To be fair, even sober me doesn't know if a Rainbow Six Siege comes with crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox.
It's not crossplay at the moment, but they're trying to get crossplay and implemented into it. And Luna at this time has crossplay between PC. So I would think that it will come with crossplay with PC. What I would like to see happen, this is obviously good news that it's coming, even though it's an old title. Hi, Anthony. That's me stirring. No, it is great that it comes because Stadia needs these mainstays of titles out there, and because if you don't have them titles, your platform doesn't look as strong. And Rainbow Six Siege is the absolute massive one there. What I would like to see happen, which probably won't happen, is Rainbow Six Siege comes with Stream Connect. Just for when you're playing on Stadia. And during the time of Stadia getting Rainbow Six Siege, Stadia and Google will dip their hands into their pockets and they will go for a Rainbow Six tournament on YouTube, get a couple of the big teams on board, and then go. Oh, Jesus. He's...
oh, dear. You're supposed to distract me, not you. Keep going.
Yes,
keep going.
Yes. And then we can actually see people maybe click on the link to join in and play other people on Stadia with Stream Connect, because as you know, people watching these streams, there's tens of thousands watching this, and if they could get a good audience with that link there, come play Rainbow Six Siege. It is an offer, or it's a pro game. It'd be amazing if it was a pro game. If it was down to like $5-10 and you could play it on Stadia for that sort of price, it could really, really help Stadia in the long run. And I think that could be an absolutely massive sort of pull towards Stadia, because Rainbow Six Siege is the perfect game for Stream Connect and for I'm going to float this word, and I hate floating it because people might get a bit ahead of themselves. Esports. I think esports with Rainbow Six Siege on Stadia could be absolutely massive, because adding Stream Connect into it could absolutely transform that game. Okay. Who wants to counter me or say something?
I know. I mean, I agree with, you know, with what you're saying. So I don't, you know, I think we were all fairly relatively on the same page with that one. Are we moving on to For Honor now?
Somebody's come up with an interesting thing in chat. If you had to choose between another Stadia feature for Rainbow Six besides Stream Connect, what would you like it to be?
I've got I know what my answer is, and it's very, very easy.
I think we're probably the same. I'll go for crowd play.
Crowd play, but if
on the basis that as a big esports channel, esports title rather, a lot of people will be streaming it, getting crowd play in there. The idea of teaming up either with your favorite streamer or against your favorite streamer, even, it would be a great appeal for the game.
Yeah, I was going to add. Yeah, we'll keep interrupting because there is a bit of a delay when we're talking. Yeah, crowd play is the easy one here, but I'm gonna float one for you. Going back to the esports model, we're pretending Stadia is getting Rainbow Six Siege for esports, and they're going to put Stream Connect into it. Crowd choice. The reason why I'm saying crowd choice, choose the map, choose what operators you're not allowed to use, things like that. So a bit of audience interactivity for the big massive events. I'm just obviously the correct answer here is 100% crowd play. It's but I'm just throwing that out as a complete and different sort of just to get you thinking. What do you think about that, Sammy?
I like that. One of the biggest possible positives for crowd choice, or not crowd choice, state share even, that I had was that if you put state share on Madden 2K21 and use that in the ad breaks for the Super Bowl, the idea that you could replay some of the great moments from the Super Bowl itself, I think state share could also be a good addition to Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is. I was just waiting to make sure you'd finished. I think crowd choice is a great shout actually, because to be able to choose or select the characters, which obviously will then go on to potentially have an impact on the potential loadout that you can kind of go into the game with. I think that adds a really interesting dynamic. So that was a good shout, and I actually can't believe that I didn't think of it. If I'm honest, it's a complete oversight, but it was that would be a really good application of it in that game.
Yeah, this is what this is one of the reasons I'm so excited about Stadia, because you've actually got so many of these options out there because of it being in the cloud. You can actually do these sort of things, and it just opens up so many possibilities out there. Could you imagine that? Even if you're not big esports league or anything like that, even just getting all these in if we were going to have a cloudy play along of Rainbow Six Siege and you could actually get this into it, it could be really, really cool to actually bring in. And this is exactly what we're aiming for this sort of show. I'm just looking at the comments here. This is what we actually want. We want to get people thinking about all these different options you could actually have, and get people thinking about bigger picture sort of things, and getting some nice, interesting conversations going. But yeah, Sammy's one with the state share in Madden is brilliant, and FIFA, and F1, and any sports game is absolutely brilliant to have. And Rainbow Six Siege is a multiplayer game, so this is why crossplay is going to be absolutely vital for the title, and I think we can't get around that. It needs to have crossplay from the word go, and I think it will have. And I'm going to put it on the line here. Here is one of my predictions. Are you ready?
There we go.
There we go. It is going to be crossplay against everybody. It is going to. I think this is what they've been waiting for, or not waiting for. This is why they've been holding back the Stadia version. Is they're going to push the cross-platform multiplayer across all the.
It's difficult enough for me without you having to correct yourself every 2 seconds.
Yes, I know.
But yes, this is a game that's been rated by Peggy and the ESRB multiple times. I think November was the first time we spotted it, and it's now May the following year, and we still haven't had anything yet. Apart from now, we've obviously got the investor earnings call.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so that was an absolutely brilliant thing to happen this week. We also got For Honor. For Honor had a very, very troublesome start of its gaming when it was born into the gaming world, but over the last number of years, it's actually flourished into a game which I know a load of people actually like. And this is another multiplayer game, so it's going to be the same what was said for Rainbow Six Siege. crossplay, and I would be more fearful for Honor than I would be for Rainbow Six Siege, because I think For Honor is a bit more of a niche. Now, niche is probably too strong of a word, but it's going to have a smaller appeal out there for people. So that game would probably struggle more to get game or multiplayer games. So that is the game which really, really needs the crossplay on it. Sammy, what are you thinking there?
To be absolutely honest, For Honor is the one game out of that list that I honestly didn't know what it was. For some reason, I've got Pirates in my head, but that could be for other reasons. I've got no idea. So with For Honor, is that like an MMORPG, or is that
just
sell For Honor for me? Go on right now.
It's a bit like Hood.
It's a bit like Hood. Okay.
You only have it. Oh, basically, think of you're a fight king and you go around killing each other people in teams as a fight king, and there's different.
Okay,
different
Viking
classes.
longboats. This must be bad. I think I'm justified in thinking pirates because of the ship's relationship, but I don't know. You were saying it wasn't. It would need to come with crossplay for multiplayer option.
No, it's because it's a PvP game. It is. It's another online, basically only sort of game.
I think that's true. I think you could say that about the majority of online PvP games. But the more platforms they're on, the more people they're available to, the better it will be for those matchmaking lobbies.
Yeah. Barry.
Yep. Yeah, I think between the two of you, you've said it really. I think it is. It's a title that appeals to a specific audience, shall we say? And I do agree. I mean, for me, Rainbow Six is the standout one. Out of those two particular games. But I'm going to be in flat out agreement with you guys. I think it definitely has to have an element of crossplay. To ensure that it kind of gives everybody the best possible chance of finding games to kind of jump into, and kind of not finding yourself in a position where you're kind of struggling to get a game online. Yeah.
Cool. We will move on, and I just want to get this right here, so just bear with. No, I've just lost it. We do know of 2 new hirings this week, so just bear with me for 2 seconds. The first one is easy enough. Barry, you can say who the new product lead person is of Stadia. I'm putting you under the gun here.
Do you not trust me? Yeah.
No, I do not trust you.
It's Dom something. Zimring.
Dov Simring.
Dov Zimring. I got the right letters, just not in the right order.
Here we go.
Wise moment there.
Anthony's asserting his authority on the For Honor conversation there, saying he's going to beat the hell out of everyone. So,
yeah, cool.
He's not that good on grid.
Okay.
I've seen you on grid. He's not that. He's not good.
Cowboys don't drive cars.
They don't seem to do much, to be honest. We will move on. So we had the Dom person join, and it was, what was his name again?
Dov Simring.
Dov Simring is now the product lead. We also today announced, I'm going to shout out MM2K because he's the one, the person I seen actually tweet this the first, and we've got a new senior marketing manager for Google Stadia. Social marketing manager for Google Stadia. And again, it is Princessology on Twitter. I'm not 100% sure of her name, but she used to work at Pokemon, and she was the Pokemon social media manager. So from my eyes, that is probably
that's a good brand to be in charge of.
Yeah, it is indeed. So she's coming with some actual big credentials out there.
That's really good. That's really pleasing to see. I think, in the weeks that have kind of gone by, I know you've spoken very strongly about them hiring some kind of real muscle or somebody, people that have got a bit of something about them. And certainly, to be kind of social media for Pokemon, that's not a small brand to be to kind of be leading the charge on. So hopefully she can bring some of that talent and work wonders with the Stadia branding.
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited that she is on board here, and I'm going to wish her all the best, because we all want Stadia to go out there and succeed. And what we've said all along is what's the word I'm looking for? Their marketing and PR hasn't been great, and some of the Twitter stuff, I think, really needs a lot of work.
I think it's gone in peaks and troughs. Sort of. We saw around certainly the release of Cyberpunk, where they really capitalised on the problem Cyberpunk was having on consoles and how Stadia was one of the best ways to play the game. We saw them capitalise on that through social media. I think, we just need to see. I've got a name already. Princess of Key. I can't remember.
Well, second, I will bring up the Twitter page now.
Whoever the new social media manager, the ex-Pokemon social media manager, really needs to just continue some of the stuff we've seen from November, December time.
They did that.
Up here, so
they had a real bravado about the Cyberpunk point, because obviously it was kind of very well regarded as, at that particular point in time, as a very strong alternative to console. In terms of the reliability of the experience, and all that sort of stuff. So, you do need some of that kind of, I guess, kind of confidence, and you need to be kind of putting it out there.
You do indeed, and so I'm actually excited to see if we're going to see some big changes down the line, because there's just so many opportunities out there for Stadia to actually get out there in social media. I think we've talked of them before. They could drop state share links in, they could multiplayer lobbies, just chuck them out there. Come and join us now. There's just so much potential out there, just to get the word out there, and I'm taking this as a real positive, because this is a full-time post being complete in other social media manager, because I will let some things out here slightly. I don't think there has been a full-time social media manager for Stadia. I think that was part of somebody else's rule before. So I'm taking this as an absolute big win going forward, that there's a social media manager now. So someone's going to be in charge of that, because you do know the social media managers of like Xbox and places like that, because they've actually got a whole team doing their social media. So even just getting the one person on board here is an absolutely great step down the line for Stadia. I think we covered this on Friday, but we can give it another quick cover again. How do we feel about Dov Simring joining as or being promoted as the product manager? Go on, Sammy.
I think I said on Friday, as someone who's an internal promotion, he's come up as a Googler. I think he's with Stadia since something like 2013, back when Stadia was first conceived of as an idea, alongside bringing out the first Chromecast. Someone who knows Google inside out and be able to liaise with higher management. I think the potential is there, as with so many things with Stadia, the potential is there, and I think we'll see in the next 6, 12, 18 months how that's working through. But I'm feeling positive about him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you, Sammy. I mean, I take on board the point that Duncan will make in a second, but I think I said a couple of Fridays ago, I felt a degree of confidence if we seen somebody from Google being asserted into that position, because it wasn't somebody, like, obviously we've had people go from Stadia into Google, and there's the obvious attention that Stadia's part of Google, but that we've not really seen any evidence of people as such going from the Google side into Stadia. So I personally said I felt it would be a really positive move if they made that step. And obviously that is the way they've gone with it. And it's clearly somebody who knows and understands the vision and the concept of the product. If you've kind of been round from a very early point in the product's life, that hopefully should give good grounding, and then kind of combine that with his experience in Google. All round, I think it's a positive sign.
Yeah, indeed it does. I can see your point. My feeling is, I think it shows. I would have preferred a outside hire, and an outside hire who was big in the gaming industry, and that's what I would have probably preferred. So, and Case Ball's just brought up, but I was just about to bring up there. But this is I'll just bring up the comment here. But what influence will he have over the big wigs? And that is my concern. Is if I felt they needed someone to come in gaming industry and they could really push this and really shake things up and have a game focused person on board to maybe do some more throwing back and get a more balance out there, because in my opinion, I'm saying it is my opinion, there seems to be, it's too tech heavy and not enough gamers there. So I would have preferred to just see someone out there to back up the gaming people, so they have a bit more of a sway at the big wigs at Google. So
I think, again, I said on Friday, this isn't someone that's going to have as much sway over the tech as it is how the experience is perceived by, let's be honest, people like us, the end users. I think it's not as much of a tech heavy role. It might be beneficial for them to be someone who knows Google from the inside, but is still a gamer at heart, and still see the end product and how that's perceived.
Yeah, definitely. And I think whilst I certainly understand the point that Caseball's making, I think maybe the way that I'm looking at it is, has there been a collaborative decision where Google have said, we are going to, in order to kind of commit to the future and the investment, we want to put the person that we want in place. Now, I know that obviously immediately maybe doesn't necessarily say that he will have any sway kind of over the big wigs. I'm more looking from a commitment perspective of, is it Google placing somebody to say, we're choosing and we want that person in place to do the right thing that we want to do with it. Obviously the thing you have to hope is that then Google's kind of long-term strategy, their long-term vision, is the right vision that he can then successfully carry out.
And again, this is all spun and speculation, and just take our opinions as opinions. And this is what I actually like. I like when we are actually all different, because it strengthens people's views, brings other views onto the table, and this is what I actually like having. I'm not afraid for people to go, Duncan, you're an absolute lunatic, or Barry,
Duncan, you're an absolute lunatic.
You call me a unicorn? I haven't sounded like a unicorn.
Shush. Moving on. Next one.
Okay, you're going to love this one. Yeah, Sammy, I'm warning you now. You're going to have to sober up for this one.
Too late.
Oh dear. Oh no. So here we go. We're Stadia, alive and well. Article on the game industry biz. I don't really want to touch too long in this, because I think it's been done to death, but for people who come to the weekly shows, I think it's just worth touching on this game. So basically, there was an interview by Nate Ahern, and he has came out and said Stadia is alive and well, and we're making partnerships with more studios and things like that. And it is, it has received, I'm trying to word this correctly,
a lot of press coverage.
It has received a lot of press coverage, and it has, in the Stadia community, I'm going to say this, in the Stadia community, it has been by and largely accepted as really, really good news. Outside the Stadia community, it has been ridiculed, and I think there's no other way to to say that. So here we go. What do we think of this news, Sammy?
I think it's, for example, you see in not just Stadia news, but news in general, of one particular quote from an article being taken, highlighted, and put on a pedestal above everything else that article says. The article, or the original article from GameIndustry.biz, talked a lot about the Stadia Makers program. Pretty much the second half of that entire article was about the Stadia Makers program and how that was going. I thought that was far more interesting from is Stadia going to continue, or is Google committed to this, than, let's be fair, the obvious counter was, oh, this is someone from Google, this is someone working for Stadia. Of course they're going to say it's alive and well, it's going well. But the actions of the Stadia Makers community and the stuff they were talking about with the other studios is perhaps more indicative of what's going on than what someone who's working at Google might actually say, or might even be allowed to say.
Yeah. Barry?
I think it's... I'm just trying to think of the best way to say it. No, I'm just gonna. I have to stay true to myself in it. I don't think you come out and declare something is alive and well unless there is a need for clarification or there is something underlying which causes it. I think I know. Don't get me wrong. Stadia has been given a tremendously rough ride by mainstream journalism. Got how on some weeks it's been given a rough ride by us, but that's kind of what we do. We like to point out everything objectively. For me, there's there's wording in there. I think that the one thing I said to Duncan when we spoke about it, and I know we touched on it, there was a lot of emphasis on the word technology partners, which would imply the sharing of technology between the organizations. So that could lead to partnerships with people using the tech. I think certainly, you don't have to, you shouldn't, if you are in the position where you are having to declare that you are here and well, something fundamentally somewhere is wrong, I think.
Okay, yep, and that is the thing. First of all, I think we're all going to say this, and I'm just putting this out here. Absolutely brilliant news that they have actually came out and spoke. There is absolutely no beating around the bush that it is something we've been calling for a while. This statement should have probably came out months ago rather than last week. Again, I'm just going to reiterate Barry's point here. The thing is, you do not come out with alive and well if things are not going. If things are going absolutely fine, you do not come out and say alive and well. And just to clarify this, is alive and well is in quotation marks because that is a direct quote that it's alive and well. So that is why it is getting used a lot. It is brilliant news that they have came out and spoke, but for me, it doesn't clarify anything which has been going on before. But I am really happy that they have came out and said something. You can go around and completely nitpick this sort of article. So here we go. I'll nitpick it here slightly. I think we're not going to see that many exclusives going forward on the Stadia Makers program. That sort of implied that to me. We're going to see some timed exclusives. We're not going to see a lot of exclusives. And unfortunately, because of the alive and well is probably the worst phrase he should have used. As I think we're still seeing it going around. So again, I think we've covered this in complete another detail earlier, and I don't really want to go down the negative way with this, but for me, it is clear that Stadia is now changing direction. We're getting out from it is competing against Xbox and PlayStation. It is going to be probably more into a complementary sort of level where we're going to get indie games and we're going to get occasional AAA games onto the platform. So if you're,
and to be fair, we've seen that sort of positioning works with GeForce Now. We've said for ages, and they came out with 10 million figure. We think that's a brilliant position for cloud gaming currently to be marketing itself as.
Yeah, it is. And I think this is them starting to right the ship and look for long-term thinking, and there's going to be long-term commitment here, because if you steady the ship, which touch wood they seem that they're doing, and they're changing their focus towards it's going to be indie games and the occasional big AAA game, getting the key games in there. It's going to take many, many years because they have to catch up in the games. And the more games you have, you're more likely to have people join. But it's about getting the right games as well. So if they're just going to be filling up the library with the indie games, I think I'm going to call out Sonny here. And I'm not calling him out going, oh, you're bad and evil. I'm just going to come out with his I'm just going to rephrase his comments, or the comments he's been making over the last while. I feel if they're going to be going down this pivot where they're going to be more indie and occasional big game, they're going to have to change their model slightly. And Sonny has said this. You can go check out Cloud Gaming Extreme on Saturday, and he clarified this when we were going through this all in big detail. Basically, the pro offering, they're either going to have to up the numbers or make that more a complete subscription if they're going to go down this way just to compete with the other competitors out there. It will make things a lot easier, and then they can sort of market things a lot better. So I'm hoping we're going to see I think what I'm hoping is it's just all going to calm down now and just calm it down, and we're just going to see a complete pivot to this new thing. And I would not be surprised if we get that. What do you guys think?
Sammy, you going first?
To be honest, I think it's going to be something. As with all these big strategic decisions, we're not going to see the fruit of it this week or even probably in the next 2 or 3 months. It's going to be something we see the results of further down the line. I'm hoping, as you said, they're righting the ship. Ruben's talking about Resident Evil 7.
Can I just say, Sammy, I'm just saying this for your benefit here. Do not be reading out Alex. His name in the chat, what name he keeps on spamming. Do not be saying that out loud, okay? He's trying to get you here, okay?
Yeah, that's I was more reading Rock's greeting, I think nautical greeting. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit seasick right now. But Ruben talking about Resident Evil Village being one of the best playing the best on Stadia. I think those are the examples of the big games we were talking about. Stuff like Resident Evil, FIFA is another one. The big games, Call of Duty is the one we keep throwing about, and currently that's on no cloud platform. But those are the big games you need, alongside the games like Figment and Unto the End, the indie games that you tend to see coming on Stadia Pro. I think that's the proof of that will be in the next 6, 12, 18 months. Rather than immediate.
Okay. Barry.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly, that the pivot and whatever, the pivot and whatever kind of direction that takes, I think, what we have to look at the moment is clearly, and we, credit where credit is due. Clearly, the people who are kind of making some decisions, whether it be right at the back and it's Google, or whether it be Big Phil himself, they are clearly recognizing that the vision that they had for the product is now not as grand So therefore, what they have to do is take it and shape it into something that is marketable and go with a solid base of what they've got. And then kind of pivot to then kind of continue that journey and kind of see where the road takes them. We talk all the time about the tech, and let's be honest, if they did something, started powering people's cloud with the tech, they're making things more accessible to indie developers. There are a lot of positives to take from what they've done and what they've achieved. It now becomes obviously, about what they do with that pivot, what shape it takes, and how they do it. And certainly right now, like we've just been talking about the hires, social media, senior marketing manager, all those kind of little changes are implying that they're slowly but surely pulling things into a more focused manner. We're probably going to get a more cohesive message going forward, because if you've got a social media manager and you've got a senior marketing manager, all of a sudden then you have that kind of allegiance to say, well, here's our concept, here's our idea, here are the marketing things, go and deliver the marketing campaign and hit it on all the social media platforms. Make sure that we're doing all the right things.
Yes, I'm going to move on here because we can talk for hours upon hours. So
as we often do.
As we often do, yes. So what we're going to do is, because we have to keep it under the hour, I'm going to put Barry under the gun here, because we're going to be talking about new games and the announcements of last week on Stadia.
Under the gun?
Under the gun.
Can you not put me on the spot?
Okay. Okay, on the spot. Northern Ireland here, like we talk about guns. Come on, get with the program.
Okay, so by the game announcements, you are going to be referencing Super Animal Royale and the Shanty and the Pirate's Curse game that obviously were announced on Friday. I think I'll pick up with Super Animal Royale. The fact that it's obviously going to be it's on multiple platforms. It's going to have crossplay. I think it's a free-to-play title, which just expands the number of free-to-play games that are available on Stadia. I think it's going to be interesting to see, what happens with this sort of title. Being free-to-play, undoubtedly, there'll probably be some element of monetization that falls down the road with skins, upgrades, charms, whatever it is. So I think that could be one to watch. Hey, Fortnite started with a small base to begin with. And it's gone on to do very, very big things. So you never know what a title like this can go on to do. They're looking to take something clearly in a similar style of game, in the sense of obviously kind of Royale, but they're adding that element of fun into it, kind of having the animal characters, and I think that could be a good bit of fun. I think it'll actually be a great game, possibly for a stream or a play along or something. And then the Shanty, great. I'm glad that they've done it, and I'm glad that they've secured it. And the one thing that we are starting to see is obviously Shanty is available on other platforms and available in the cloud. So I think it's good to see that once you've got a developer who is then kind of committed to kind of moving to the cloud, what we're starting to see is that is resonating across each of the platforms, which kind of means that as a whole, cloud gaming is kind of growing. It's getting the exposure that it needs, and there's kind of uniformity in the titles that are coming in certain instances.
I know Sammy is looking forward to playing this with Jim.
Super Animal, Super Animal Battle Royale. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mostly because there's very few games you can play as a cat. I was over the moon. I was playing winemaking simulator, as you might tell, and a cat turns up about 40 minutes into that game. I'm over the moon on that. I nearly extended my stream by another 5-10 minutes just so I could have a conversation with a cat. But the idea to play as a cat is new to most games. Frustrating. There's plenty of people wanting to pet dogs in games, but no one wants to pet cats. Cats are better. Just face it, cats are better.
I'm completely confused here.
Jem and I are having a bit of a back and forth about cats versus bears. As for the Shanty thing, I agree with what Barry says. It's great, but once developers coming on board. They're releasing multiple games in that franchise. We saw that certainly the big franchises, Ubisoft, have brought multiple Assassin's Creed games to the platform. But I've seen like some of the smaller ones with Shantae. I don't know who develops and publishes Shantae, but it's so great to see that that's another game in the series coming to the platform, and hopefully keep people invested in Stadia. Because if one game in the platform or the series comes to Stadia, then later on it's not on Stadia. The obvious example I'm thinking of at the moment is F1. F1 2020 was on Stadia, but F1 2021 might not. All of a sudden, people are starting to look for going onto other platforms to buy the next game in the series. So having the next Shantae game on Stadia is sort of the first step in countering that. Hopefully, and this is probably my brain going off on one, but hopefully this means that we might see the merit in trying to get F1 2021 on Stadia eventually.
Hopefully we do. My quick take on this, and just worried about time because we've got a couple of other wee things because we have to talk about the game that he's just been playing. Absolutely brilliant coming. The best one is the Super Animal Royale. I think as everybody has been talking about, it's coming with cross-play, cross-progression, all that jazz. If you've got an Xbox, it is going on the 1st of June there. Claim the pack. It should work on Stadia when it comes to Stadia as well. It's going to Game Pass. You have to have Game Pass to get the super duper version of it. We also had a couple. What title? It was it just it was the wine game? What's the wine game called?
100 Days.
There you go. Was there another game?
It's great.
Street Power Football also came Tuesday.
Yeah. The FIFA Street sort of game. I knew there was another game that completely slipped my mind because I'm not interested in that one. So there's my thoughts on that one. But it's good to see another sports game there. So, Sammy, how was your quick hour at that game?
By very quickly, for various reasons. I really enjoyed. Possibly, I really enjoyed it. I had to probably get into it a bit more, possibly when a bit less drunk. Really looking forward to going through. I played through the first hour of the game, so it's basically the tutorial. Planted the first grapes, harvested, pressed the wine, bottled it, and then sold it off. You seem to talk through the various aspects of the game quite well. Explained a little bit. One guy whose job title I couldn't quite pronounce, I just called him a helper all along, but clearly one of the experts in studying what I think ecologist. Rewatch my stream and tell me how to pronounce it. I don't know, but. Really enjoyed the game. On sale until the 21st, a 10% discount without Stadia Pro. Fully recommend just going in, giving it a go. Yeah, cool. Good game.
Okay, next piece of news. Okay, I'm going to shout out Stadia DB here. So here's your game news, of which there is a lot of signs pointing to Scarlet Nexus coming to Stadia. If you go to Stadia DB, they have been pointing these out. Recently, a developer of Scarlet Nexus liked his tweet, or liked their tweet as well. So I think there is a lot of signs that Scarlet Nexus is coming to Stadia, so that is going to be a good get if that comes. Do not get, this is pure and utter speculation, so do not go completely another hype in this, saying it's definitely coming. It's just there seems to be indications that it is going to come, and just like the ratings boards, just because something looks like it's coming, it doesn't 100% mean it's coming, because we're still waiting on a load of games on these rating boards still to come. There's also that dinosaur game. What's the dinosaur? It's not Ark. It's the other.
Is it the Gigantosaurus or something?
Yes.
There we go.
That is the same. It has been rated for Stadia. Being rated for Stadia indicates that there is a good chance that that game is coming, but it doesn't guarantee it. So the chances are that game is coming to Stadia.
Speaking of big dinosaur games that might have been rated by the certification boards recently, I did see on Gem's Twitter that ARC had been finally rated by the ESRB or Biggie, or one of the big boards. Obviously, again, this is pure speculation. Don't read into this anymore. But with Tuesday coming up tomorrow, the 18th, do we see perhaps ARC Survival Evolved dropping on? Perhaps being even a 5th Stadia Pro game this month?
And here we go, Sammy. You're just leading into our last discussion of the night, because this sort of feeds into that. Will we get a blog post tomorrow? Or will it be after Google I/O?
So obvious question is, how long is Google I/O? Is it multiple days? Is it Tuesday to Thursday? Or
yeah, it is a bit. The keynote today, then it's over not today. The keynote's tomorrow for a couple of hours, and then there's all these wee small sessions. Stadia is mentioned in one of these small breakout sessions, and it is pushed onto. It's numbered in with something else there as well. So Stadia is mentioned at Google I/O, but I wouldn't go all swinging and on dancing on it. So do we think we're going to get a blog post tomorrow at 5 o'clock, 12 noon Eastern, or do you think it's going to be held back for Google I/O, and will Stadia be mentioned in Google I/O?
I'm going to take the boring route. I don't think Stadia will be mentioned at I/O this year. I think Google have far too many other things that they can talk about apart from Stadia. They will mention cloud, and I imagine Stadia will form part of that. But I'll say it now: don't hold your hopes up, guys. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
The big thing we're all waiting for is, it's mentioned in chat already, about Stadia being on the Sabrina Chromecast, the Chromecast for Google TV. 95 Google have already said that's unlikely to happen.
They've been told that. They've been told by Google.
They've been told that we're not expecting anything. Of course, that means if something does drop, brilliant, great on them, as long as it's good news, and we'll be happy to receive this surprise news. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of dancing in the streets and on the Twitter feeds afterwards. But don't stay up all night excited waiting for Sundar Pichai to drop some Stadia news down your chimney and into your fireplace. It's not going to, I don't think.
Okay, Barry, can I ask you to do it pretty quickly, because we've got we'll get Sammy to read out his on afterwards, just for badness, because he's his big friend doing it there as well.
No, of course. Yep, I can cover it really quickly. I actually don't think we're going to get a blog post tomorrow. I think that kind of the overriding big organization will seize control, and it will be, today is our day. It's Google I/O. So thank you very much. Hold the fort on anything else. I don't even think it might not be until potentially Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Thursday, before we see something from Stadia. In terms of Google I/O, same boat as you, Sammy. Reading through what seems to be coming up, there really isn't much of a mention. So if it's snuck in there somewhere, it's going to be a surprise, and it's potentially being held back. But ultimately, I don't think it'll be mentioned.
Okay, I will do this quickly, and I think we will get a blog post tomorrow, and I think it is going to be late. I think it's going to be 2 or 3 hours after. I think it's going to be like an hour after I/O. Will Stadia get mentioned? I think Stadia will get mentioned, but I think it will be a passing mention, or maybe they may throw out, we're looking to expand into other countries. Look, did you hear what I said there? I put a bold one in there, but I am going in with absolutely no expectations of Stadia being mentioned at all, because I think it's probably not the right place. Speaking of Stadia, we're going to plug our show on Friday, our 2 shows on Friday. We've got Cloudy's Roundup, we've also where we go through over the whole week and all the different cloud services. And the big one this week is our pro predictions, and we'd love to see people in chat, and that will be at I'm going to call it here. It's going to be at 8 o'clock UK time. So we're to make sure we're under the hour for the other. So 8 o'clock.
Good luck, guys. I said good luck to you too. I'm going to be there as well. But yeah.
So it's 8 o'clock UK, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific, where we predict the pro games, and it's always a good laugh doing that. So thank you all for joining us. And Sammy, where do people go to next?
So after us, it is Ariel, the Legend 21 TV, Ejimix, and the young Eli Levy himself, going over to the Cloudian cast, which is just after us. The link should have been in the chat, but I forgot to do it. So one of you two might have to go very quickly because my mouse clicks aren't accurate, if you get what I mean.
Can you find your mouse?
I can find my mouse, but I can't necessarily find it on the screen. I had that problem halfway through my stream earlier. That's worrying, that is. But go check out them. They'll be covering their news. They also have a guest.
Okay, Sammy, you've said enough. Go check them out. Bye.